Hello everyone, I'm John from Sageology, and today I'd like to share with you a quick, inexpensive and secure way to attach my Osmo Mobile to a standard tripod. Like many of you, I was very excited when the Osmo Mobile arrived. Having experimented with it for a while, I have to say that it's a great tool. Probably much more useful than I expected. I really thought I was buying a gadget and I ended up with a very good tool. That said, I quickly realized that I really needed to have a tripod to use some of the more interesting features, especially the time-lapse and the motion time-lapse. As you probably know, DJI sells a really cool tripod with an extender rod, but together they cost more than $100. In my case, I have several tripods that I use for other equipment, so the thought of buying another tripod that cost $100 just didn't make sense. So I started to look around to see what others have done. And probably like you, I looked on YouTube and saw lots of good ideas, but most of them involve buying some bolts at a hardware store, cutting and grinding things, and coming up with a hack that worked. And although that worked for many people, it just didn't really serve my needs. Well, I found a super simple solution that costs less than $7, requires no cutting, no grinding, no taping, no modifications of any kind. So let's take a quick look at what I purchased. So from Amazon, I purchased a 1/4-inch screw tripod mini head for $6.88. And because I'm a Prime member, the shipping was free and it arrived in just 2 days. And so here is the unit, and we'll take a closer look at it. Now it's designed for a DSLR camera, and it's got a maximum load of 2.5 kilograms, which is about 5.5 pounds. More than enough to hold the Osmo Mobile and my iPhone. So when it arrived, I took a look at it, and the one thing I have to say is I was quite impressed with the weight of it. Now obviously you can't see the weight, but you know, very often when I purchase things on Amazon or other places online, I find that the piece that I get isn't as sturdy as I was hoping. And in this case, it's a solid piece. And so really what we need to do with this is we're going to attach this end to the Osmo, and this end is going to go on my tripod. Now what I've found is it's best if you take off what's called the camera seat. And I know some of you will say that that serves a useful purpose, and I agree, but here's what I found. If you take a look at the Osmo, we're going to be attaching the tripod mount here, and if I line up this unit with the camera seat still on it, you can see that the curvature in the Osmo just won't allow it to go in. The Osmo uses what's called a rosette mount, and although you can buy a unit like this, it's quite a bit more expensive. So I'm going to take off the camera seat, and then the next thing I'm going to do is, as I mentioned, it's mounted into the rosette. So we have to take off the cap and just screw the cap off. A little bit hard to get off, but take that cap off and set it aside. And so the first thing that I'm going to do is take my unit and very carefully screw it in, being very careful to make sure that it's threaded properly, and I'm going to put that in until it's finger tight. I don't want to use any wrenches or anything like that. I just want it to be finger tight. And there's the first stage of using this unit. Now, as I mentioned, I've taken off this camera seat, but it really isn't important. The camera seat is really more designed when you're going to have something sitting like that, and it provides a firmer base. Because we're going at it at 90 degrees, it's not as important. So now I have that attached. How do we get it onto the tripod? Well, I'm using a pretty standard tripod here, and like many of your tripods, I have a quick release. So I'm going to take off the quick release seat, and I'm going to use that bracket to attach it to the Osmo. And so you simply take the base unit of your quick release and screw that in to the bottom half of that mount. Now what I have found is it's really useful if you keep the mount to the outside. So keep it outboard, and you'll see why that plays an important role in a minute. So again, we're just going to do that finger tight. There's no need to be using any wrenches. And so now we have the unit attached, and so let's see if we can put it onto our tripod. And again, I have a quick release. I'll just put it on this side so it's easier for you to see. And then I can tighten that up, make a slight adjustment, and there you go. You can now see that the Osmo is attached to the tripod. Now let me just get a camera, and we'll put the camera on to see what that looks like. Okay, so I have my iPhone here that I'm going to attach to the unit. I always recommend that you attach the iPhone after you've put, or insert the iPhone after you've attached the unit to the Osmo. It just makes it a little bit easier for you to do it. I'm going to power up the Osmo. You can see the lights are coming on. I can do a quick double click, and sure enough, we are connected. I can go to my Osmo app. Of course, there's other apps you can be using. I'm going to use the Osmo app and connect to my camera. And now I've got everything set up here. What's so nice about this is not only is it really useful if you're going to be doing the motion lapse or the time lapse, but even just for scanning with the Osmo, it is so smooth. Just you can see as it scans there how powerful that is. I'll slide it back around so you can see it from the front as it moves. Either fast, I can do it much slower. We can go up and down. And what you've got is a nice secure mount there. So the other reason that I really like using this is because I have several other tripods that I use. Here's one of my favorite tripods when I'm traveling. This particular one is called an UltraPod. This is the UltraPod 2. This is a really useful one because you can mount it on all sorts of surfaces. It's got this Velcro, so you can literally strap it around a tree or whatever the case, but a really useful thing. And so the question is, can we use this mount that we've just put on our Osmo with a unit like this? And the answer is absolutely. So I'm going to power the Osmo down. I'm going to take my iPhone out. Again, I just find it better to be operating without. I'm going to take the unit out of the quick release, and now I'm going to remove that quick release bracket that I'd put on, or seat that I'd put on the bottom. And so I've taken that off, and now we have the unit just with the mini ball head added. So now I can take my UltraPod and simply attach this piece in there. Again, you just have to be careful to make sure you get the threads right. Tighten that up. Spread out the legs. Tighten it up. And there again, we have a very sturdy mount for the Osmos. Now I can just adjust this. This is the tripod, and I've got it there. Once again, I can put in my camera, or my phone I should say, power up the Osmo, do the double click to make sure it's centered, and again, a very sturdy system for our Osmo, and we can use it in the same way as before. Just a really, really handy way to do that. If I move the other tripod out of the way, perhaps you can see a little bit better, but there you go, all set and ready to go. So there you have it, a $6.88 solution for mounting an Osmo to a tripod, whether it's a mobile tripod like this one or a more traditional tripod. I'd be delighted to hear any comments that you have. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks so much for watching.